Hi, everybody. It's Mandy from Health Professions Week. Thank you for joining us at the 1 o'clock Eastern session. I'm really excited to present to you our partners today from the National Commission on Orthotic and Prosthetics Education. They've been a partner of HPW for several years now. We are hosted today by none other than Shri from InCope. I'm going to turn it over to her because we've got a great panel and you don't need to hear any more from me. I'm going to let you hear from these outstanding professionals. Thanks so much, everybody.
Hey everyone, thank you for joining today's panel discussion on the 101s regarding orthotics and prosthetics. I'd like to welcome Sydney, Glenn, Jonas, and Michael, and if we're able to catch her, then Leah will be joining us as well. This event is as part of Health Professions Week, and you can reach out to us at NCOPE OP or HPW at Health Prof Week across social media anytime, especially if you have any questions. Bios of all of our panelists can be found on our website, ncope.org, social media, and at the slide that starts and ends our panel. So let's get started with our first question. Panelists, several of you are CPOs, recently became CPOs, several of you are longtime CPOs, and we have one individual who is a resident finishing up. So I would love to open the floor with, what does a CPO do on a day-to-day basis? Jonas, could I have you take that? Because I know you come from a big variety background.
Sure, absolutely. So first and foremost, what a CPO does, a CPO stands for a certified prosthetist, orthotist, a certified clinician in the field of orthotics and prosthetics. And the first and foremost thing we do is patient care. So orthotics is what's commonly referred to as bracing. So it's anything from head to toe, from baby heads down to the foot and ankle. And prosthetics is basically replacing someone with limb deficiency or limb loss. So we do patient care. A patient comes into the office, we see them, we do an evaluation, we get to meet them, we learn about their medical history, we learn about their family history, what they like to do for work, what they like to do for their activities outside of work. And we try to basically come up with a treatment plan for what the most appropriate device might be for the way they present and for their goals. And then typically we do a casting or a scanning of the patient to get a model of their limb, and then we fabricate the orthosis or prosthesis for them after that. They come back for an appointment maybe a couple weeks down the road, and we fit them with their orthosis or prosthesis. We see them walk, we do adjustments to it, and so it really is about restoring function and ability to these patients' lives.
Awesome, thank you so much for that overview run through about what a CPO is. So on that note, I know there's several of you that can add to this one. I wanted to go to the next question, which is, in addition to certified prosthetist orthotists, what other O&P professions / roles are there? Michael Carroll, would you like to take this one, please?
Sure, I'd be glad to. So there are a lot of supporting roles within orthotics and prosthetics, and there's two certifying agencies for our profession. So there's the American Board for Certification in Orthotics, Prosthetics, and Orthotics, as well as the Board of Certification, so BOC. Within both, they have kind of different specialties, but the major ones are orthotic assistants, prosthetic assistants, orthotic fitters, therapeutic footwear fitters, and then also orthotic technicians, prosthetic technicians, as well as mastectomy fitters. So each kind of has like a subsection of the field that they really focus on. I'm trying to think, and even within like CPO, that's certified prosthetist orthotist. There's some people that want to only focus on one thing, so they might only get one certification in prosthetics or orthotics. So there's a lot of different components within our field, which are pretty exciting. So most now going to school, they'll get both their prosthetics and orthotics, just because that's the way that the educational model has kind of shifted. But for those that aren't really interested in going to that full certification or that full clinician certification, a lot of people prefer to just focus on technical hands-on things. So that's where they might decide to go and become a certified orthotic technician or prosthetic technician, or both. Some people do both. And that's kind of the hands-on fabrication and things like that, which is pretty cool because that's using your hands in the medical field and making limbs, making bracing. I'm trying to think of what other cool stuff that we do. Really, kind of bracing and limbs. Then there's also like the certified mastectomy fitter. That's somebody that would work with somebody that has undergone a mastectomy to provide prosthetic breasts, as well as compressive garments, which are really helpful for those individuals that have undergone that type of treatment. And then orthotic fitters, they kind of focus on some of the kind of the soft good orthotics is what they're called. And those are things that help people with, you know, that might be experiencing pain or discomfort or weakness that don't necessarily need a fully customized solution. So there's a lot of different ways to get into the field, which are exciting. So you don't have to kind of pursue the education to become a certified prosthetist orthotist. A lot of people choose to pursue those other pathways through orthotic fitter, prosthetic assistant, orthotic assistant, mastectomy fitter, things like that. So there's lots of different components within the field of orthotics and prosthetics that, and each one has a direct hands-on benefit to our patients that we take care of. So it's a very rewarding, fulfilling career.
Thank you for that insight. So on that, the next question follows with, what is the process to become a CPO? And there are several faces here that have very recently and are undergoing that process. So Leah, would you mind taking this question?
Sure. So first of all, sorry for being tardy. Ran late with the patient. One of the ways you can start is through, there's several different routes, and each of the different schools in the United States have kind of a different option. But a lot of people will go in already having a bachelor's in some sort of field. Mine was in anthropology. A lot of people come from kinesiology or engineering, and then you'll oftentimes go in and get your master's if you're looking to become the certified orthotist prosthetist. Most programs are between 2 and 3 years, and then once you've completed that master's or other degree, depending on which program you're in, you'll traditionally follow it up with a 2-year residency, 1 year in orthotics, 1 year in prosthetics, or if you want to focus on one, then you just do 1 year. During that process, you start going through the board exam phase, which is a series of 5 different exams if you're doing both orthotics and prosthetics, and each is slightly different than the other. And then from there, you just continue your training. Throughout the educational process, at least for my program, one of the biggest things was that you were doing internships and clinical hours, and you're getting different perspectives and learning from as many people as you can. So that's the CPO route. There's many other routes that include formalized education, and then there's routes that don't. So that was the route I went through.
Sydney or Glenn, would you like to elaborate on that?
Yeah, I can touch on the exam process if you'd like me to talk about that. So for the exam structure in our profession, we have a written exam, a simulation exam for each discipline, and then a CPM, a clinical practice management exam for each discipline. So the written exam, now they offer a combined exam. So they have an orthotics and a prosthetic combined one. They also offer them separately if somebody wants to choose to be only a certified prosthetist or only a certified orthotist. I would say most new clinicians coming into the field are taking the combined exam just because less tests equal less studying, equal more fun. Everybody's happy, right? It is a little bit bigger, but most students coming out of school are doing fairly well with the combined written exam. They do not have a combined simulation exam, so you do have to take a simulation exam for both orthotics and prosthetics. And those exams, the simulation exam and the written exams, can be taken at a local test facility wherever you're located in your residency. So you just, set it up, schedule it, and then ABC distributes it at that testing facility. The CPM exams, the clinical practice management exams, those are done in Tampa, Florida. So they're done at different times throughout the year. They're a little bit more pricey, so there's a little bit more pressure involved with those exams. But you fly down there with a small cohort of different residents across the country. You take either the orthotics or the prosthetics exam in person. It takes about 3-4 hours. I think it was that long, maybe 3 is a good number there. But once you're done with that and you pass all your tests, you are a CPO.
Sydney, anything to add there?
I don't think so. I think the process is pretty clear as to that question. I don't have anything else.
So Jonas and Michael, then this kind of tailors off of that, where, once you are a CPO, and it's been touched on a little bit, where there's continuing education, but what kind of evolves from that as you maintain certification?
I'll jump on that. Some people choose to specialize. And it really just kind of depends. Like I've worked with people that, they're fully qualified to do, the full gamut of orthotic and prosthetic items. But they, actually one of my favorite colleagues I've worked with, she would only do cranial remolding orthoses. And she was the very best person I know at doing cranial remolding orthoses. So that is for, sometimes babies will be born, they might develop different conditions that cause, just different things with their development of their skulls, or, and it can be muscle weakness. There's a lot of different things that can cause it. But that was what she focused on. I've also worked with CPOs that only do upper limb prostheses, so like prosthetic hands, digits, things to that nature. I also worked with some CPOs that only specialize, or they only do orthotics, lower limb orthotics, and that's what they're interested in. So it's kind of nice because you can have the qualifications to do a wide array of things, but then using that continuing education and your clinical practice and just kind of your own I suppose your own preferences, you can really kind of drill into what you want to focus in, and it's a pretty cool field in that regard. So myself, I work in a hospital system that only takes care of adults, and then but I also have some colleagues that only take care of pediatric patients, and they really like it. So it's really cool, just the range of different things that you can do once you enter the field. So residency, you're kind of you pick a facility, hopefully that gives you a good well-rounded experience. But then once you're deciding to move on and start to practice independently, that's where you make those decisions as to what you want your focus to be. Or if you want, you can be kind of a general clinician as well. That's also an option.
Awesome, thank you. A reminder to all of our attendees, please feel free to write your questions in the chat and we can definitely throw them in anywhere. And worst case, we'll follow up with them on some posts afterwards. But we definitely want you to be able to ask your questions and get them answered. So the next question relates to how does residency work? And really, how does residency work in relation to school and work? There's a common misconception that residency is in addition to schooling, even though it's kind of a continual process of schooling in terms of getting certified. So if Sydney or Glenn, you want to take this?
Sure, I can start there. So like you said, yes, it is a continuation of school. It's more of the applied part. You get to apply all the stuff you learned in school from the books, from all your professors, and you get to put this into practice. I know for my residency, there was a flow to it as to progressing to be able to become independent and practice on my own. So I started out by just observing, learning what my preceptors did, how they asked questions, how they did evaluations, and just situationally what they would do. And then that progressed to me doing, starting to see a couple by myself, started doing some casting, and then to doing the evaluations, talking. And throughout this, you talk to your preceptors about everything, and they help guide you to make sure that you're making the best decisions for the patient. So you're always in contact with them, and they're always you're just maintaining this relationship throughout. I mean, I'm really good friends with my preceptors and I love it. I still text them all the time, like, hey, I have this. Can you help me? What do you suggest? Just making sure I'm staying on track. But yeah, you just go through and you progress till they feel confident so that you can see patients by yourself by the end of your residency.
Yeah, and I can add to that and talk about the different structures of residencies that are out there. So I guess there's really three main routes right now. You could either do 1 year of orthotics, get certified in that, and then do another year of prosthetics. And you can do that at the same facility, or you can do it at separate facilities. You can also do an 18-month residency program where it's combined, and that's usually done at the same facility. And then for me, so I went to Baylor, and their residency model is very different in that you go to different clinics and it's all included in your school. So for me, I had 6 different rotations and they were 3 months long each. So I would go to different clinics across the country, like consistently, like I was always moving every 3 months. Now they've changed their structure a little bit now to where it's 3-4 month rotations. And then the residents have a choice between one last 6-month rotation, or they can break it up into 2 3s. And really, like Sydney was saying, it just gives you a lot of different exposure to like trying new things. I am a person who really likes analogies, so I kind of, simplify it in that, school is like practice for sports. Like you do all the practice, you get your playbook, you learn the basic principles, and then residency is like your first scrimmage, right? So you really try it out against somebody new. Like it's just like I'm actually implementing what was taught to me in practice, and then that scrimmage gets you ready for the show, and that is when you're certified and out on your own. So yeah, that's kind of my 2 cents about residency there.
Jonas, could we get your perspective as a residency director?
Yeah, absolutely. I think as Michael sort of alluded to before, the learning never stops in this field. Every patient is so unique that you're always, even after 10, 20 years of working in the field, you'll still see something new, maybe not daily, but definitely monthly, possibly even weekly. So the residency really is just sort of continuation of your academic learning. And I mean, I would say even after your 2 years of full residency, you're still going to be learning, and there's still plenty of opportunity to learn from the clinicians. Kind of going on a tangent here, I think one of the best things about this field is it's really small. I don't have an exact number in my head, but there's fewer than 10,000 O&P professionals in the country. So we are a very close-knit group, and you over the years you really get to know everybody. So there's always resources you can turn to, people to learn from when you see those cases that you've never seen before.
On more than one instance, just related to this panel, we've come across several moments where there's overlap in who you know and how you know them. This field is very tiny. Don't make enemies. That is probably my best advice to anyone interested in the field. But we'll go on to the next question because it actually is it's come up as a question that is frequently asked from attendees, viewers of past Health Professions Weeks for O&P. So what extracurricular activities or courses, of course, in addition to the prerequisite requirements, but extracurricular activities or classes would be beneficial to strengthen applications to enter, of course, the MPO programs? And this question, Leah, could I have you take?
Sure. I had a kind of a non-traditional entry. A large majority of my cohort were engineering, pre-med, PTs. I'm a medical anthropologist and medical historian by training. So for me, I think having that background that was a little bit different. And I'm also what's considered a mature student. So this is actually my third career. And having a more varied experience for me was helpful, both in school and residency, because I guess I had a larger or a broader perspective. In regards to particularly extracurriculars, if this is a field you're interested in getting involved in, I would say join adaptive sports organizations, join the adaptive community. Adaptive doesn't just mean amputees. Adaptive means everything from spinal cord injuries to leg length discrepancies to differences in neurological function, whether it's autism or blindness or deafness. There's a wide spectrum, and it's a big community, and it's a very welcoming community. And in multiple ways, that's very much where I found my people, and part of what cemented that this was what I wanted to follow. So that's always a good option, because you can find those folks pretty much everywhere where you are, and that helps you also get a little bit more experience to make sure this is what you want. And it gives you good roots to, as Shri said, join that small community. I would also personally recommend spend some time either shadowing or working in the healthcare field, and not necessarily O&P, because orthotics and prosthetics is more of a holistic practice. So if you can get perspectives, you know, I have an EMT license, I worked in primary care, but getting that generalized perspective, whether it's working in the field or just shadowing, so that you can understand how the medical field works, not just in our field, but for everyone else, so that you can be a little bit more well-rounded.
I just want to add to that comment. I think it is, and I feel like somebody else mentioned it, but if this is a career you're interested in, it is critically important that you try to shadow in a clinic. You know, odds are there's one close to you, and they would probably be delighted to have you shadow, even if it's just for a day. You know, because it is like, you know, going to school, it's an investment. You want to make sure that you're making a smart investment. So, you know, if you can find out that, hey, this is what I want to do, that's great. Or if you decide, hey, actually, this doesn't seem like I'm too interested in it, it's better to find that out like at the beginning before you start to make this time and monetary investment into going to school for this. So I just would like to kind of add emphasis to that. It's really important just to shadow. And then also, you know, say you do decide to go that route when it's time for residency or employment, a lot of times those people that you shadowed with, they remember you, and that kind of gives you an in for when you're applying for a residency position or for a job long term.
Thank you both for all of that. Sydney, this one's going to be for you because it plays off of it pretty well, and especially as you are a RRL, which stands for Regional Resident Liaison. So are there mentor-mentee opportunities through schooling and residency?
All right, yes, there are. So I don't know how everyone else's school worked. I know at my school personally, a second year was always partnered up with a first year, and that was your mentor for the year. And then vice versa, when you were a second year, you got partnered with the first year to be a mentor. Outside of that, you can use your regional residency liaisons. We send out emails. We are friendly. Please contact us if you need anything. No, there's no stupid questions. We'll answer anything and everything. We love getting questions. And then ABC, I believe, has a mentoring program where you get partnered up with a clinician when you're in your residency. I believe, I think it's your residency, or I know mine was my second year. I was a second year when I was in school. So I had a mentor who was out in Georgia. And so any questions I had, I would send to him. And we just met once a month, and they had topics that you could talk about if you didn't really know how to lead the conversation or didn't have a topic you wanted to discuss specifically. So we would do that. A lot of times it didn't end up that topic. It was other things within, like applying for residency. What do you think good residencies involved. And it's just nice having somebody in the field to give you advice on what you should look for or how to decide which residency is right for you. That's where I think I got my best advice, is having that mentor help me with choosing the right kind of residency for me.
If I could just hop on that as well, kind of combining what Sydney was saying with what Michael Carroll was saying, by shadowing with different groups and different people, both before you go to school, during your clinical hours, keeping those relationships, for me as a second-year resident looking for a job and just generally navigating the world, having those people that I've worked with who know me a little bit better and reaching out to them has been super, super useful. So both there's the stuff that's available, but also creating your own network is super important.
Definitely appreciate what you all mentioned. Jonas, from your end of it, as you know, having been a residency director for a while, sitting on the board of directors with ENCO, what does mentor-menteeing look like for students and residents and like new clinicians?
Yeah, I mean, I think everybody's kind of alluded to it before, but I mean, the whole this whole field is based on sort of interpersonal relationships and knowing people and relying on them. You know, it's really a team-based approach to patient care, not just from O&P professionals, but we work so closely with physicians, you know, physical therapists, occupational therapists, things like that, that there's so many opportunities to learn. And the more, you know, you depend on other people's knowledge, ask questions, you know, participate in these organized mentor-mentee relationships, the better. You know, I think in our region, you know, we have 5 to 7 residents at any given time, and they just cycle through. And I'm still talking to residents I'm still talking to my residency directors and things like that who've now moved on. They're on the West Coast, I'm on the East Coast, but just, you know, having those resources there is so incredible.
Right on. So I want to wrap this as the last question that we're going to ask, because you all have had some really wonderful pieces of advice thrown throughout. So especially with the last 2 years of what we have witnessed between the pandemic and the social rights movements that have happened and the initiatives that a lot of organizations and companies have taken, how do we feel O&P is doing with DEI initiatives, so diversity, equity, inclusion initiatives? And this question, I'm going to start with Glenn, please.
Did you say me? I couldn't hear you. I figured you did. No one else talked. So I just want to double check. You like broke up right when you said the name, but I'll take it. So I would say, like, for me, so this field traditionally, and many of the viewers probably don't know this, has been male dominated, and it's been primarily white male dominated. I would say for me, when I came into school at Baylor, our class was very diverse in that there was 7 males and 17 females. And to me, I was like, all right, it's just another class. Like, I was a biomedical engineering major in undergrad, and that is primarily more female heavy. So it didn't really seem like much to me at the time. But as I went to like conferences and stuff, I started to notice like, wow, like we're male dominated, and my class is way more females. Like, I didn't really know that was a thing, but you know, talking to people and you start to notice these trends of there's a lot more women coming into the profession, and I think it's a great thing because it is challenging some of those initiatives. And I'm actually married to a woman in O&P. She's also a CPO, so it's really nice to just see that, you know, the women are really taking over the future of our field, and it's continuing to grow in that direction. And I don't know if anyone else has similar experiences from their school background, but feel free to jump in.
I think the field of O&P as a whole has really embraced DEI initiatives. You know, from the top down, the certifying bodies, ABC, NCOPE, they all have very specific, very active DEI committees and initiatives and tasks. There's Academy of Orthotists and Prosthetists meeting, which was just last week. It was huge, very heavy into DEI initiatives and courses to teach the profession, to learn, to share stories, to share experiences, which I thought was really great. The keynote speaker talked about ageism in population in our profession, excuse me, where how we have a very heavy baby boomer generation at the top of our profession and a very heavy millennial generation coming into our profession, and the interactions between them. So I think it is very like in a lot of professions, it's in the forefront of our institutions, and I think the field is really moving in a positive direction when it comes to DEI initiatives.
I agree with Jonas. I think it really is, and there's a push to actually go out and try to diversify our field, to continue to diversify. And events like this is what helps, because our field is so small. People don't know what we are, what we do, or that we're around. A lot of people want to get into healthcare, don't know what they want to do. Oh, I want to be a physical therapist or a doctor, but then there's sometimes or a reason where they're like, oh, maybe I don't want to do that, but they don't know that, oh, O&P is an option. Like, I didn't know in school, and so I just thought, oh, I do pre-med. But when I found this field, I was like, oh, more people need to know about it, and doing things like this will help bring diversity in and just build a better healthcare community overall.
I totally agree. Thank you all so much for the insight you've provided. I have been in the field for a decade now, and I feel like I learned new things today, which is really exciting and awesome. And that's kind of the point, where there's always something new to learn. There's always new people to connect with. And the field of O&P as orthotics and prosthetics is kind of ever evolving, which is a really great place to be right now, especially. So if you have any questions, audience members, this goes to you, individuals who watch this on demand later on, please reach out to us, ask us your questions. We will get back to you on that. And to my panelists, thank you so much for being a part of today's NCOPE and HPW panel. Jonas, Glenn, Sydney, Leah, and Michael, I really appreciate your time, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day tending to your patients.
Thank you.
Thanks, you too.
Thanks everybody for tuning in.
All right, you guys, thank you. On behalf of everybody here at Health Professions Week, I also want to say how much I appreciate your time today. This is, as Sydney started down the path of saying, that it's really about career exploration and finding that right fit for you. And the more that HPW can do in order to shed light on really exciting careers, like as you guys were talking today, I was like, oh my gosh, this is so exciting. What you do is amazing work. So thank you on behalf of HPW for being here today and talking a little bit about what you all are very obviously passionate about. So Shri, I don't have any questions in the chat box, but I will reiterate, if you are watching this on the on-demand version, you are welcome to reach out to HPW and or directly to NCOPE, and we will do our very best to answer your questions. We're going to close out the webinar by watching one of the videos. And if you've been with us throughout the month already, you know that Health Professions Week maintains playlists. Again, these come from our partner associations. So this information that we're going to share with you next is a quick video directly from the National Commission on Orthotic and Prosthetic Education. So I'm going to run the video real quick, and any of the panelists that want to hang around and just see if there's any chat questions, I absolutely welcome you to do that. If not, I'm going to go ahead
Want to shape your future and help
roll
others
video.
thrive? O&P may be the perfect match. Orthotics and Prosthetics, or O&P, is the evaluation, fabrication, and custom fitting of artificial limbs and orthopedic braces. It's a dynamic and growing allied health profession that encompasses both cutting-edge technology and hands-on patient care.
I am Dan Minert. I am a certified orthotist and the director of an orthotic and prosthetic technician program. I make the future happen every day, and you can too.
ONP's unique blend of these interpersonal and technical skills make the profession attractive to people from a wide variety of backgrounds and affords them opportunities in a number of professions, such as therapeutic shoe, mastectomy, and orthotic fitters, podorthists, technicians, assistants, and ONP practitioners. ONP is a fast-growing profession, and one way to start is to become a certified technician. Students can attend an associate's degree program where they'll get extensive hands-on training in designing and making devices in the lab.
The folks that graduate from our technician program are going to be fully qualified for a career in orthotics and prosthetics technical work in fabrication laboratory. We're going to graduate them ready to go to work on the first day.
You know, what we're finding is the students that are graduating from these programs are just better educated all around in all of the areas that they need to know.
You can make any one of the ONP professions a lifelong career, or you could decide to further your education and training to add to your credentials. Regardless of the role you ultimately select in ONP, you'll find there are plenty of opportunities in patient care facilities, retail outlets, with hospitals, VA facilities, and with manufacturers.
Having some of that latitude to be able to have a home life as well as a very rewarding career, I think is one of the greatest things about this profession.
Today, students training to be ONP professionals come from varied backgrounds, including other healthcare fields, such as nursing, physical or occupational therapy, engineering, business, manufacturing, education, the military, the arts, or service and automobile industries.
The people that are coming into this field are coming in from a greater variety of backgrounds. They're more highly educated and they have a lot of skill to bring. So that really excites me working with all of the young people coming into the field.
A good candidate for the profession is someone with an interest not only in helping others, but also with an interest in working with their hands and problem solving.
I taught high school for 18 years and was looking for something else to do where I could help people and use my brain and my hands, and this seemed like a perfect combination to marry all the things that I love.
ONP careers require problem-solving abilities and creative thinking. Not every patient is the same, not every condition is the same, and not every solution is the same. That's what makes the field a great fit for returning veterans who have relied on these skills in the military. But there's more. There are resources available to help you pay for your ONP education. And there are a number of organizations and schools that offer grants and scholarships for ONP students. If you're currently unemployed, you may qualify for funding through the Trade Adjustment Assistance Program. If you're a military veteran, the GI Bill may pay for your education and some of your other expenses.
We have several patients who have experienced IED blast or other substantial injuries, and they're now back on active duty, still in the military, wearing prosthetic devices, running, jumping. It's a privilege for me to be able to assist and work with these combat wounded, our heroes. They're our heroes.
Orthotic and prosthetic patients can be any age, size, race, gender, or socioeconomic status, but they all have one thing in common. They need the services of ONP professionals. Some need short-term care as a result of an injury. Others have conditions that require lifelong care. Advances in engineering have opened amazing new possibilities for ONP devices and have given ONP professionals exciting new options to help their patients.
We're on a rocket ride, and my expectations have already been so exceeded, and it's just continuing to improve. And I'm finally allowing myself to dream, what comes next.
Orthotics and prosthetics is a great option if you're looking for a new career. ONP professionals come from diverse backgrounds and can start their career at any age. Some enter the ONP profession right out of high school. Others enter ONP after college or after working in another profession. For many of you, the ability to design and work with high-tech devices that drive the profession is another plus.
Just magical.
And that's what we do every day when we work with our patients. We have to be creative. And that's what we do. We empower, we inspire, but also we have to have the technology to get these people up and going.
This is an exciting time to be in orthotics and prosthetics. We have so much out there now. We have robotics, we have 3D printing, we have a lot of technology.
To get to work with incredible materials, microprocessor technologies. Technology, you think of smartphone technologies, how we integrate those into prosthetic systems. Just amazing, incredible opportunities.
The common thread is that you, as an O&P fitter, podorthist, technician, assistant, or practitioner, can change lives. And the benefits are multiple. It's a very dynamic profession, which keeps it fresh and interesting.
You have to have a quality of interest in other people, interest in their well-being, improving their lives, improving their ability to function. You help people every day.
Why look for a job when you can discover a meaningful career? Prospects in the O&P profession are outstanding. The time is right to consider a career in O&P.
At this point in time, this field of orthotics and prosthetics presents more opportunities now than probably at any time in history. I've been in the industry for 52 years, and I can tell you from my own experience that what we're seeing today is a demand that exceeds anything that I've ever seen.
Want to learn more? Connecting with O&P professionals is a great way to learn more about the profession.
I think mentorship is a great way to get an introduction to the field, and most people in the field are very willing to share their knowledge and expertise with the next generation of professionals.
I would say that for a lot of people, they can go in and spend some time and say, yeah, this definitely is, I can see me doing this for decades.
If you're a student, a veteran, currently unemployed, or just looking for a new career, O&P could be a perfect fit. Find more than just a job, find a career.
You can see devices changing the lives of patients, enabling them to walk better or to function better during their life. And seeing that hands-on, knowing that I'll be part of that someday is very rewarding.
I mean, that's one of the great things about being here is that we're not just learning how to build something, we're learning how to change lives.
You know, there's something very exciting about making something that fits somebody very well, and they comment on it and they say, wow, this is great.
So whether you're looking for a new career or to better the world by helping patients and their families, you owe it to yourself to consider the O&P profession. It's your future, and everyone benefits.
With prosthetics and orthotics, you get in the room and you take a kid maybe that's never walked, you get them up on devices, and you get that immediate gratification that, you know, not that you're bragging, but to say that, yeah, this is what I did today, and look at this.
This is a great profession. I get up every morning, love what I do. I've never had to work a day in my life. This is not work what I do. This is just a passion that I have, and you can do exactly the same.
It's just a joy, and it's a perfect career.
I'm Michelle Hall, and I'm a certified prosthetist orthotist. On a daily basis, I make a difference in people's lives, and you can too.
All right, everybody, I'm going to close out there. I'm going to say thank you one more time to our group from NCOPE today for taking the time to present and talk a little bit about what gets them out of bed every morning. So Shri, thank you very much. Final reminder, don't forget Self-Care Sunday on Sunday this week. So tune in, you can watch one of our videos this week talking a little bit about mental health and taking mental health care. And that's all available on demand on Sunday. So we'll see you all then. Thanks so much, everybody. Bye.